وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Amen. Again, assalamu alaikum. I'd like to welcome you out to the first Sunday. I'd like to thank Brother Akbar with his excellent presentation that he continues to give. His brother is dynamic. This is, obviously, this is the first Sunday. And the first Sunday, we have many things that benefit the community. Today, we're going to do Tai Chi for health. That's the main focus. And then I'll do some Arabic a little bit. I have a transcript that I want to read something from Imam Deputy Muhammad. And we'll close out with that. And then we'll bring the brothers up, and they will go into the Tai Chi for health and so forth. And then after that, we'll bring up W.D. Muhammad II. So I mentioned to him, caught him by surprise, but I knew he's already prepared. I said, he's the main speaker today. By the way, and so with that, there's a chapter in the Quran. It's called Kafirun. And I'm just going to just write just the first verse. Missed that. The first word is qul. I did explain it, but it's qul. It means say. It's a command. Who is commanding? Prophet Muhammad is commanded to say. And what Allah has commanded the Prophet, He's commanded us. So we are commanded to say to, the chapter is Kafirun. It says, Qul ya ayyuhal kafirun, la'abdu ma ta'budun, wa la antum abidun ma a'bud, wa la ana abidun ma abadtum, wa la antum abidun ma a'bud, lakum dinukum waliya din. And as I said, let me erase this, and we probably won't do a whole lot with the script today because it's a pretty extensive program. In fact, we won't. Here's the key on here. This chapter, most of it translated is that say, "Oh, you who reject faith." That's the kafirun. Kafirs. The kafirs is from kafara, which means to cover. So they have faith, but the faith has been covered, and either idol worship or whatever it is, or oppression. In the Holy Quran it says, "Do not let your faith be covered or dressed by oppression." And so it says, "Kuyel kafirun, la'abdu ma ta'budun." The key is the verb. Which means worship. We translate it the way the commentary gives to it. Worship. And based upon Christianity and so forth, worship, they mean put all your heart and soul into it. And that's a good translation from the commentary. But the Imam says, look at the word abd. It means slave. It means working, right? A slave works. So Allah raised up the level of a slave, that one that's indentured to somebody else, to the level that you can only be a slave to Almighty God. And when he said a slave, that means you cannot be a slave to anybody else. And so instead of worship, the Imam said that it should be work. It said, I would not, say, "Oh, you who reject faith." I would not work for which that you worship, nor will you work for which I worship, and nor will I work for you which you want to worship. So who are we working for? We're working for Almighty God. Then if you say serve, serve means work, right? So what it is that you yourself as a human being you're going to serve Almighty God by doing the works that God has ordained us to be. And when you put the, what he said, faith without works is dead. So it's a totally big difference. One is emotional. When you say worship, it's more emotional. But with saying that you're going to work for God, or you're a servant to God, servant for God, that means you're working for Almighty God. Allahu Akbar. That's all I have for that. And the other thing I wanted to do, it sprung from a class that we had, Imam Rasul. He has, we call it the lifeline, because he has a telephone conference in the morning. It's called Fajr Taaleem. And you got people all across the country. They're calling in. You got various people. They do commentary, or they'll they have open up for question and answers and stuff like that. They have various ways of approaching it. So I was I did a small test yesterday on the chapter Tawbah, which is chapter 9 of the Quran. And chapter 9, as the Imam said, is the 9 is very important. And that chapter, I'm just going to mention a couple of points, but I want to read the commentary from the Imam that fits right into that. He says that all the chapters in the Holy Quran has Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim at the beginning. And the Fatiha is a verse. But in the Tawbah, you do not see it. It's inside that chapter, but it's not the beginning of it. And so 9 represents birth. So by 9 represents birth, so that means that when a child is born, in its nature, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim is written on the soul of that child. And so, but the chapter Tawbah, if you start, if you read the beginning of it, it's dealing with the prophet and the pagans in Mecca. They're at war, and being at war, at times they had agreements and so forth, and sometimes they had a habit of agreeing upon something, but then, you know, they like a snake with a forked tongue or whatever like that. They say one thing and do another. So the prophet had to maintain the agreements with them sometimes. Sometimes he had to break the agreement. And we know that in the Holy Quran it says that if you have a contract, an agreement with somebody, and you see that it's going to be misused, throw back the contract. Forget about the contract. So the contract was against the pagans. We had to understand who was the prophet fighting against. He was fighting against the pagans that was in Mecca. When it came to the Christians or the Jews, now the Jews sometimes they would side with the pagans, because when they saw that they couldn't get what they wanted, you know, they just sided, you know, whatever. But when they actually came to fighting with the Christians, when the Christians declared war on the Muslims, and the Muslims defeated the Christians at that particular time. Then later on, after that, you start having the Crusades. But the point is, Prophet Muhammad was fighting against the pagans. We're not at war with the Christians. We're not at war with the Jews. Once Mecca was conquered, they cleaned out the idol gods, right? And once they cleaned out the idol gods out of the Kaaba, and then stopped the people going around there, circling around, some of them was naked, going around there, stopped them from doing that, then there was peace in the land. And the Imam said that Prophet Muhammad said that many of his family members didn't even convert to the religion. They might have said they did, but he said there was never a police force that went knocking on the doors of the people and said, "Do you have an idol in there?" Allahu Akbar. So with that, I will read what the Imam said in regards to that, and then I'll conclude this portion, and we'll get into the Tai Chi Fast. So the Prophet rejected this unity of Arabs only because they wanted him to put them over the unity of mankind, even though he insisted upon them having the God who had revealed it to him. He did not force anyone to denounce their religion. He didn't even force idol worshipers to say, "Muhammad, I accept what you have given, this new religion. I reject the idol, Lot and Uzza and whoever." He didn't force any of them to do that. He didn't even pressure any of them to do that. So why is it now that everybody is a Catholic? And we got to wish for a day when Al-Islam is going to make all of them Muslim. When Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, did not do that when he was victorious. He had victory there in Mecca, and all of